you're really not being asked to do anything specifically tonight. So there's no requirement that you replace your sign or any of that. So that I want to be clear on that. Nobody's asking you to replace the library sign. But when and if you were ever to do that, the request would be to look at creating a sign similar to what you see up on the screen. Now, Kate has prefaced this that I understand there's some Agile is not the right word, but there's some requirements that the library has, like colors may be one, their logo, like a book or whatever may be another thing that they already have that they want to continue, you as a trustees would want to continue to use. So one of the things I might ask you to at least think about and talk about tonight is if you were able, if at some point you did replace the sign, one, would you think about the color? And if not, that's fine too, but maybe doing like a dual thing. So maybe I can pass this around too. So this would maybe go somewhere on the sign, if not on the top, bottom or something like that. So there's some uniformity of how we have, how we have signs throughout town. So that was kind of the whole concept of the branding and the wayfinding. So that as buildings, for whatever reason, we're able to put a sign up or replace a sign, it would all have that similar look.
I really like the idea of branding the town.
Yeah.
I think there's a big upside to that, actually, across several upsides. But we've also, through your efforts, Kate, put in a lot of effort on our own branding for the library. And does this necessarily mean that we wouldn't be able to put our sign right next to yours? It doesn't have to be necessarily on top, but it could be right next to it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you have jurisdiction on the property, so you can do whatever you want.
Well, we want if we could develop some synergy here. Do you have any guidelines for doing that sort of thing? Just
no, not
as
really.
we ease into, as more of you starts to, or more of what you're doing starts to bubble to the top, then we can, maybe we can coordinate some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
But you're saying there's a potential to like combine them somehow.
Yes.
But so that it could maybe potentially both be on
Right.
the sign. So it's like the library, which is part of the town, like somehow. So
part of it too is the script. I don't know if you have a specific script that you use already on your sign.
we do.
Yeah. So that, which is fine. Again, it's
Well, I mean, at this point, like we have the project coming up, but we're not currently weren't planning on changing the sign in the project. And like, as the town knows, we're trying to keep the project as tight as possible. But in the future, it's a potential.
And I know one other thing that came up was, for not all residents, for people who see the sign can read or can read English. So there was the importance of kind of taking that into consideration.
Yeah, that's what Kate had mentioned. So, but we could certainly look at it if the time comes. It could be next year, it could be 100 years from now.
Right.
There's, again, to be clear, the town's not asking the library to change their sign. No, there's no deadline. If for we do have, the town does have additional earmark money, grant money to do some wayfinding signage and some branding signage, but we're likely to start putting up signs that we don't have now, like parking this way, and town hall, library this way. It's that type of signs I doubt we'll look at. This is not that much money to actually start replacing signs in front of any one particular building. So unless you guys come into a fortune, you're not likely to replace your sign.
That'd be amazing.
In the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But it's to basically get some feedback from the trustees to, what your thought is on this and if you're willing to kind of work with that concept, if it ever comes up.
Yes, I guess my response is, why would we not?
No.
Yeah.
Did you get a grant for this?
Yes. Yeah, it was in the form of an earmark, so that, yes, we were given money through the state to do it.
Are you going to repeat the name Westborough on every sign?
Yeah.
As if this town was huge and people didn't know where the beginning and the end
Well,
was?
so actually, if you scroll through, if Kate goes through some of the other ones, you can see some of the wayfinding stuff. I don't know that it actually says that. So that's an example of one of the wayfinding signs. So it actually doesn't say Westborough on the wayfinding thing.
Well,
It's more like once you get to a destination, I think so those don't.
Yeah.
But there are some other buildings that we show in that.
Yeah, so you can see here, it just says library, it just says town hall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be
is
There's other, there's
Best.
other buildings too. I think we do say Westborough.
right.
Yeah, some of them.
But it seems
Yeah.
like a redundancy that isn't necessary. If you had an amazing sign at the beginning of where the town begins,
Right.
and at the end, that's telling you, when I first moved here, I didn't even know where it ended.
Yeah.
You know, 9 years ago, I still don't know where it ended. I just say, no, I'm suddenly in Northborough.
Yeah,
But I do think this,
This
for
is
me
a good
looking at
idea.
it, seeing if a building would have Westborough, whatever on it, would let me know that that is a municipal building versus a private building.
So all the municipal buildings, so the one across the street from the library where the Forbes is, or Forbes, that would have a sign that said Westborough this, and then across the street at Town Hall, it would say Westborough this.
if you scroll, I think we have examples of that. That's, if you go the other way, maybe.
No, down.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Nobody
get
gets
there.
sick from all this scrolling.
Alright.
Oh, that's the trails. Okay, page
Oh,
24.
Holy
Scroll
scroll.
up. You went too fast.
I know,
Am I
I know
seeing
there's
multiple
buildings.
fonts?
Sorry?
Am I seeing multiple fonts here? Because I see some with serifs, some sans serif.
Well, you're very astute. Some of the regulations on the wayfinding, we have to go to DOT regulations, and they have very specific fonts that you have to use.
Yeah.
So there's some, like that doesn't say Westbrook, but those are some signs in front of some of the parks.
Yeah.
We do have other building signs, though. I don't remember if we put Westbrook on.
Okay, that one. I'm kind of zoomed.
Thought
in,
we
so
had one
might
for
have
the town
missed
hall
something.
somewhere in this. I
Yeah.
should have this kind of memorized, but I don't. I apologize.
So like Westborough Department of Public Works, that's
Yeah,
one
it
that
has,
has
but the
an
town
I.
hall one is in there too. Yeah, right there. So we do
Town
have
Hall,
Westbrook.
and then the other one
And
says
yeah,
Forbes.
the
or
fire
municipal building.
department and the municipal building and.
Yeah.
Oh, Forbes, that we didn't actually put Westboro, but we can, when the time comes to, we can always take Westboro off. That'll be,
Aesthetically, it does
yeah.
seem to look good.
So is it fair to say in terms of the board, because I think that's what you're here to kind of hear, that we are open to working with this and seeing if we can combine things and come up with something that works for us and is still recognizable in terms of the branding and wayfinding for the town, leaving that open to say we don't know what that looks like yet, but when the time comes, we're open to looking at that. Okay.
Yeah.
And the logo in the middle is that.
Yeah,
that one.
that's, yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, on these, it's the logo at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Who designed it?
Well, it was the company that, what happens is we hired a third party to come in, and they did some outreach, and it was like the Historical Society showed up, and, I'm sorry, Smart Historical Commission, and some other boards came, and general public, and a conglomeration of thoughts, they finally came up with this, what it was supposed to
Yeah,
be.
but it's got things that are notable to Westboro.
Yes, because the sleigh was original to Westboro. It's actually on the street signs. So there was the actual sleigh that's on the street sign is slightly different, but that was that. This is supposed to mimic basically town hall,
Yeah.
you know, and other buildings similar to that. I think the tree was supposed to be just it was a farming town at some point. And then
But it
these are,
provides balance and fills in the space.
Yeah.
yes. But it was a combination of thoughts. They had different, that one design was just the sleigh, and they might have had one too that was just the logo that we use now as a town moniker, but that's kind of boring if you ask me.
If we go towards a common goal, which everybody recognizes would have good value, what's the mechanism for communication between your part of the town government structure and our part of in what we do at the library? Is it just Kate assigns somebody, or and they talk to you, or do you assign somebody to talk to somebody, talks to somebody, etc.?
Well, so we actually have a permitting system where if you did replace the sign, you would actually apply for a permit. We don't charge you because you're a town entity, but There actually is a procedural process you go to put up a new sign.
No, I was just thinking about the planning before we actually get to putting in the signs.
Yeah, it would be, Kate would hopefully have that conversation. We could sit down with
Yeah.
the economic coordinator and myself and kind of talk through it. So that what it would, to do a sign actually can get a little bit complicated, as I'm finding out. You actually have to come up with a shop drawing so somebody can produce that. So you'd have to come up with dimensions, the script, the colors, it's not, you don't usually just say to a sign company, make me a sign. It's a little more complicated than that. And then that then gets you to the pricing, which signs can be very expensive. They're not inexpensive, let me put it that way. Where in fact, the economic coordinator is in the process of trying to price out some of the signs we're looking at, so we can present it to the select board. We have $70,000 to do some signage throughout town, but it'd probably be getting eaten up pretty quickly,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I just have
Especially
one
here.
last question. and
Sure.
we'll let- What vision do you want people coming into Westborough or considering moving here by seeing this sign
Mhm.
that tells me this town is 1772 would tell me, I don't want to live here. They're all still in the past.
Yeah.
And so, and that's how I honestly, honest to God, that's what I thought when we moved here. Oh, where did I move to? And then I read in the ordinances that animals had the right of way. I went, I'm from an urban center in Connecticut and then a suburban center in Connecticut. I said, get me out of here. And it took me a couple of months to say, okay, but when everything is about the past, we are going to be part of the past one day and there'll be no room for us. I'm just wondering how many times you're going to redo this and talk about things that happened in 1770.
Well, I don't know, I guess I disagree with you on that.
Well,
I
that's
think,
my
you know,
feeling.
Preserving the.
Oh, preserving is
history,
fine.
and there are
Yes.
other ways, mostly
Yeah.
economic, that will.
But will they
and
draw
of
them
course-
in?
Well, I don't think we're looking for people to do drive-by investments in the local economy, but a company that's willing to put in $50 or $60 million is probably going to come down, and do some
Mhm.
serious analysis. But I'm really glad you came down.
Yeah,
This
I
is,
really am too, because
it's
I find this
kinda
really interesting and it gives me an insight into how things are thought through.
Mhm.
You know, you could have used those metal boxes where the electronics for the changing of the lights for this, and yet somebody allowed them to paint them like they were a 10-year-old's bedroom wallpaper, which says nothing about this town. But I went to one town in another very rural place and they had the entire map of the city, town,
Mhm.
on that with arrows pointing where you wanted to go. Thought that was pretty neat because it wasn't overtaking every building. It's just on those stanchions. But I
There's a
think-
lot of opportunity for kind of attacking wayfinding on all fronts. I think
Mhm.
it's a good start. Like we have to get at least everything lined up to make sure we're all on the same page and our buildings are recognizable. And then I think, yeah, it'd be really cool to think about some really creative ways to incorporate it as well. And I feel like you also had a question for the board in terms of is it for the board or for me about the building?
About the building, well,
Project. Do you want to wait till it's on?
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to skip, but if we're all
No.
done with that
Well,
topic.
does anyone else have any other?
Oh, bless you.
So I would agree with Kate that I think the board would support working in relation with you guys on if we were to ever change the
Great.
sign. And we
Fantastic.
appreciate your efforts in
Yeah.
town, trying to improve people's navigating around, and that can only help increase the flow of people all around. So thank you.
Perfect, thank you for that. So while I'm here, because I didn't know it was on your agenda, I apologize, that's my humble apologies. I should have probably explained to you what I actually do. I used to be the building commissioner in town, and then 4 or 5 years ago, I had a dual title, community development director, building commissioner. In the last year and a half, I've subsequently become just the community development director. But I also work with different departments, and one of those departments is the sustainability coordinator. That's what piqued my interest when item number, whatever it is, the repair project.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up, because I just want to make sure you're all set with that. That came across our desk the other day. and they
Yes.
were asking the sustainability
Oh.
coordinator to
Yes.
sign off on that.
Right.
Oh,
On the Eversource?
That's correct.
On the
Yeah.
Eversource?
Yeah.
It's interesting that it went to you first,
Well,
Well, it's typically them, but because you have
because I have
Control of
ownership
the building, yes.
Yeah.
so I just want to make sure you're all set with that, because I didn't have Lila sign that.
Oh, no,
Lila
I
Ahmed
signed it.
Yeah,
I just
that's
signed
fine.
it, so this is all set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
nothing you need from us, correct?
I don't think so. I signed it and I checked with Andrea. I was like, I sent it back, so I just want to make sure it was all set. And
Yeah,
she
no,
said,
they
"Yep,
need
this
it
is
as
all I
long as
needed.
it
You're
was
all
back
set."
by,
Yeah, I think it was by December or something.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't, the town, on at least in our department, hasn't really been involved in that process. I just want to make sure it didn't get screwed up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nope, we should be all set. But yeah, if anything else pops up in yours, flag it to us, because I think that might happen a few different times. I think we have a different structure here in town than most towns do. That the trustees have ownership of the building.
Correct.
So if it, we might have things pop up in many different departments, but so yeah, if anything else comes your way, let us know.
Yeah, I think some of the confusion may have been that Peter Donback might have been involved in some
Mhm.
level.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and it's
then-
on the building committee.
Yeah, and then Ben Bowers, the previous.
And Bowers
sustainability
also
coordinator,
was
but
involved in that.
I don't think he was intimately involved in anything with this.
No.
So.
No,
that
I think
was-
they just had a hand in what systems we ended up choosing
Ended up
and
using,
why and what the rebates were. So they were,
They've been super
Very
helpful in
helpful.
educating the committee on different paths forward
Mhm.
with sustainability and whatever we're putting
Good.
into the building. So it's been super helpful to have them.
All right, and then having said that, again, since I have you all here, just take up one more second.
Sure.
If there is anything relative to sustainability you do need help on, then you're more than happy, and I'm actually encouraging you to talk to Lila Ahmed, our sustainability coordinator, because she can help.
Mhm.
We don't thrust her upon you.
Yeah, yeah.
But if for some reason you need any information or contact or whatever, she has, that's why she works with all these different entities. And sometimes that can be confusing to know who's doing what, but
Yeah.
I
if
mean,
you
it
certainly need any help.
be a bad idea to put her in connection with Steve and make sure that we're not missing any opportunities out there
Oh, yeah,
that we
Yeah.
could take advantage of
Yeah.
in this project.
that's not a bad idea.
Just to get,
Well, I think they had to do that on the back end before they purchased and decided on the equipment and everything. Like, I think that ship has sailed. So we had to
on
do,
the equipment, but just like, I don't think it hurts to touch base at different points in the project to see if anything else pops up that we might be eligible for, or,
Mhm.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know,
sure.
like,
Sure.
I think it can't hurt to double check.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave it to your discretion, but through Kate, if you want to have her or anybody else talk to, she'd be more than,
Yeah.
Lila would be more than capable.
That'd be great. I don't even think I've met her yet, so I think that would be,
Yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
great.
yeah,
I'll bring her down.
yeah.
That'd be great.
At least you
Go
can
to the
look
project,
up.
see if there's anything else
When
that,
do you expect for us to see the first signs going up?
Well, I hope by the end of summer at the latest, I hope.
Well, that's a really good answer, because we're gonna be moving into our space. I'm wondering if there's some way we can coordinate your new signage with our new space at the library, and to get the double bang for the buck. Obviously, you could contribute something if you wanted, but if not that, then we could buy some space, and who knows where that might take us.
Sure.
Well, thank you for your work.
Yeah,
Even though I was, talking about something else, I appreciate the efforts you put in. It's just that, always wondered about stuff here.
yes, well, thank you.
Different eye.
Yeah. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This isn't Thursday. is it?
Nope, it's
No,
Wednesday.
it's
Wednesday. Thank
Wednesday.
God. Okay, Wednesday.
So, that'll bring us into, director's report.
I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly because I also want to spend a few minutes on budget, because we are within kind of the budget. And we've really just started beginning it, so really just put some really quick highlights on the director's report this month. Number one is our door counter died.
Oh, no.
It went kerplunk, and so our data is a little bit wonky for the month of October. We were able to be a little proactive. So in the new building, we already have built into our budget new door tracking system from a company called SenSource. And so within the budget, we have 3 units identified, one on either entrance and one on the entrance door of children's room, so that we can also look at accurate numbers of who enters and exits, how many people coming in are going to the children's room, when is that happening?
Love that.
And because of the way the sensors work, we were able to get one of them to put in here that we can take with us
Oh, cool.
to the building. And this is great because it gives us a chance to play around with it
Yeah,
because we could still change our mind.
love it.
So far, so good. We still have to go through staff training to get our dashboard set up, but through the efforts of the DPW and all 4 of the guys down here helping us install it, we got it put in. And so I pulled the last 4 weeks of data because that's kind of what we had. And just like this took me 3 minutes to pull up, and this is averages per hour per day. So this is data that we just did not have access to previously. And it's really interesting because it does kind of tell us what we suspected. If you look at Saturday, busiest by far. And if you look at those afternoon hours, they're even starting to kind of be the busiest per hour as well. Tuesday's a little skewed because one of those Tuesdays we were closed.
Right.
But even looking at Wednesday night, you can see how busy our nighttime hours are as well. And if you were here today and early, you'll know how busy we are generally at our nighttime hours. So just a really interesting kind of being able to pull up averages for a week instead of like a cumulative. Just a really powerful tool in terms of looking at when to schedule things, who's in the building. We can even pull it up live and see who's in the building right now currently. So it's a great tool, and we're gonna do a lot of cool stuff with it. But right now, this is what we're doing with it.
Okay, so what's the significance of the colors on this?
It's just a heat map. So red is the busiest, green is the slowest. So
is this a distribution that you would have expected to see in a library like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this didn't surprise me from working here, from looking at our numbers, we do hourly walkarounds and track how many people are in each part of the space manually. We do those. We also track circulation data. So no, this does not surprise me at all. It would have been fun to have this during the summer.
Yeah.
You know, like that would have been really interesting. But this tracks from what I see, I think on a daily basis here. Budget process, we'll go through that. So I'm going to skip this part. And then kind of the bigger piece of information I want to convey to you is kind of this legislative news, legislative breakfast. We are entering legislative breakfast season, which is always fun. So number one is, I know I sent you guys an email, but I'll talk about it again. Last Thursday, the Massachusetts Senate passed actually 2 bills. So one is the act regarding free expression, and the second one is an ebook bill. So the second one really has to do with public libraries and fair pricing of ebooks, so access to ebooks. And I know we've talked about that a lot. So that's really great that has passed in the state Senate. And then an act regarding free expression, which really pertaining to us public libraries really protects our right as professional librarians to make determinations within our collections and be protected to make sure that the public has access to information, good information, curated information. So really important. Those have been years in the works to get them up and going. So they will go to the House next, and then we will see what happens from there. Most of the amendments were struck down. There is one that I know the legislative committee of MLS, and we are all kind of looking at hoping that it moves in a different direction. But all that to the side, really good news. Amazing to see those actually happen. It was really, really cool to see. Secondarily, legislative breakfasts are happening. Lynn and I have been working on planning one for here, mostly because I've never heard of a legislative breakfast happening while you're in temporary space.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And I think it's just really cool because a lot of the times what you end up seeing is they do them in these like after renovation, when everything's beautiful and everything's done. And I feel like it's kind of a good idea to show our legislators how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Right? That it doesn't always look like,
Yeah.
you know, a beautiful Marlboro, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks like this, where we don't get the grant, you know, and we have to kind of take an alternate route and what that might look like. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like putting out your best china doesn't convey, you know, give me money in the way that we need to as public libraries who serve the public and rely on the state budget. So, January 13th at 8 a.m. will be our legislative breakfast. It is a Tuesday morning. Lynn has confirmed
Senator Moore,
more.
Representative Donahue, and Representative Kane are all confirmed.
And
And like, will McGovern, other people will be invited?
Not on the federal level, they're
Okay.
just our state reps.
Student to state.
Yeah.
So what usually happens if you've never been to a legislative breakfast is the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners every year sets out a legislative agenda. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it, but it's basically the lines in the state budget that are specifically for the libraries. So it's state aid, it's the MBLC line, it's the line for the networks, talking books. So they put out their agenda saying what they recommend them to be, where we should advocate more or less. And then once we get that agenda, which we don't have yet, once we get that, that's kind of what we use for these legislative events, so that while we have our legislators in front of us, we can talk about the importance of libraries, the importance of getting behind these budget lines and advocating for these budget lines, and making sure that those budget lines get fully funded to the level that we need them to at the state level. So they're always really fun events. You get librarians and members of the public and everybody just interested in learning more about libraries with a capital L versus, you know, Westborough Public Library. And so it's really good to see how we're interconnected at the state level, and with the MBLC. So usually you have a member of the MBLC there to come and talk about legislative agenda. Maureen has confirmed she will be there, and so we're so excited.
I'll be there, sure.
Yeah, so it's going to be really great. And then you usually have a commissioner there. You'll have representatives from MLS, from your local advocacy group, which for us is Central Mass Library Advocates, which I'm the president, so I will be there too. We kind of get to double dip on multiple levels. So it'll be a really great event, and you come and you have a little snack and you learn about, you know, libraries and how we fit in on the state level. So I encourage everybody to come. We'll send out a save the date soon. And if you have key stakeholders that you feel like we should be inviting beyond the obvious, let us know, and we'll make sure that they get the information.
And can we invite sort of people in the community? To
Yes,
that?
yep, it's open to
You'll be able to- you'll have-
members of the public. Yep, anybody can come. Yes.
We had one maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, we had one in recent history, and it was wrapped up by 10 o'clock, and I went back to school. And,
Yeah.
You know, there were people from the public and few politicians. Those two, Kate and the other one.
Hannah Kane,
Yeah, Hannah Kane. She goes around to
yeah, she's
most
great,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Would we be, I would imagine we'd invite the select board.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Christine can.
Yep, definitely invite town manager and assistant town manager.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So that's it. There's no questions. Again, we'll send it out again, just so you know, but we wanted to let you know as soon as we knew. And then, so I'm gonna talk about the budget in a real like broad sense, because we are still it's
FY 27.
FY 27 budget. So starting July 1, 2026. So we are currently in FY 26, which makes it so weird to talk about FY 27. So we went through all of our budget lines. We had a lot of discussions. This is a really tough budget year. We've heard it from Finance Committee, the Joint Commission, the Budget Summit, from AFC, from Select Board, all of these groups that last year was a tough budget season. As you know, our custodians' hours were cut when those boards came back and said they wanted to see the budgets slimmer. And there's a lot of talks between level service versus level funded and what those things mean. And just to be clear to this group, level service does mean an increase. Level funded means we get the same amount of money we got last year. Level funded will mean personnel cuts. We saw that last year. We will see it if that is what they choose to do this year. The hope is that we don't get to that. So our strategy in going in was to make requests only where we absolutely needed them.
So I'm sorry, does level service indicate anything beyond inflation?
No.
Okay.
No. It's exact same services, but yeah, it's a great question. This is our, so 1,056,000. FY27 is 1,078,000. This is the department head request. You'll see the manager line is the exact same, which is great. The one difference I do need to talk about in this personnel line
The
is,
manager's line is slightly smaller.
oh, it shouldn't be. It should be the same.
Okay.
Ignore this.
Okay.
Ignore this. We can fix that. This is because of a 52.2 week.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's why. That's why. So it should be the same number, but one of the things we've talked about, I think, a lot as a group and as a board of trustees is what to do with our custodian. With those hours being cut. And so this budget does transfer those funds into the DPW, and that is contingent on this group signing a memorandum of agreement with the DPW for custodial services. So that will be the next thing that we will have to work on, is outlining what is the library's need for custodial services and having the DPW agree to provide that. So that's what you'll see here. That's kind of one of the bigger things to note. Other than that, you'll see, again, this is your FY26 budget, this line, and then this is over here is the department request. So advertising was 2,500 last year. We've asked for 5,000. Realistically, everything costs more to get printed, and that's a fairly meager budget to begin with in terms of what we need to do to get the word out about the things that we do here. Grounds and buildings maintenance is exactly the same. HVAC, we have lowered by 5,000. We're not quite sure exactly what the cost of that's going to be, but our assumption and based on talking with our architects, we're hoping with a brand new system that we will not have to do much replacement of it or repair of it. So that is why we feel comfortable bringing it down.
Typically, we'll spend close to $5,000 on a service agreement with ARC. So that we know is coming, and
that, and then a little bit of a cushion.
Right. We have left the equipment line the same. Again, we're not sure, and our anticipation is with custodial services coming from DPW, that as the board of trustees who still owns the building, we will probably still have to pay for any maintenance thing that comes up. It may go through DPW.
And that's also like alarm systems, Johnson Controls,
all of those
all of
contracts.
those contracts come out of that line. Our elevator repair and the
and the
thing and inspections.
Yes. Office equipment, slight increase from 7,500 to 9,000. Again, we're looking at inflation there. Travel in-state and travel out-of-state, those we did add $500 to each one. Those lines have not increased much in the last 5 years. And just to put it into perspective, our travel out-of-state paid for a single conference that I went to, and I didn't reimburse anything other than flight and the hotel flight and conference fee, and we were overspent. So just getting those up a little more. And there was discussion with the town manager about the fact that we should probably have a separate line for development, because right now we put it all in travel. Well, we put some in travel and then the other in dues and memberships, but neither one of them really is development, right?
Yeah,
So there was discussion about that. So $500 in each of those, which is again a small increase. Fuel and oil was at 9,500. We are recommending going down to 7,500. This one's a little bit of a, we're not quite sure where we're gonna
Yeah.
go with that. So last year we were wildly overspent on that line because of Eversource.
Yeah, Eversource was crazy. Our heat was a lot
Our heat
last
was-
year. Now with transitioning back into the building, we're going to heat pumps and our
Right.
gas system will be our backup for when it gets too cold for heat pumps.
Right.
So,
So we anticipate our electrical probably going up, but
Right.
which we don't
We don't
pay
carry.
for. So we don't carry that.
Right.
Yeah.
so this is a little bit of a guess. We worked with Mike Williams a little bit on figuring out what that might be, and we'll have to readjust,
Yeah,
you know, if that, if that's not the right thing. Dues and memberships is the same. Special event program, 7,500 is what we get. Again, we get about 23,000 from the Friends. We are recommending that go up to $10,000 even from the town. And again, inflation,
Yeah.
every performer is costing more. Office supplies is the same. Other supplies is the same. Other supplies, materials, all of our materials lines are remaining the same. And what that does is, again, we have to hit our materials expenditure requirement from the state, which means that of our total municipal budget, 15% has got to be spent on materials that lend. These numbers give us exactly 15%. So we will hit that municipal materials expenditure requirement. So that's all of our book lines.
what, so, and this I should know, but I don't know, what if one of our lines goes way over? Does that impact, or is it just because we budgeted this way, then we're safe at the 15%?
Those are all this, like, look at that as one pot of money.
It's one. So in the state, we just have to tell them what we spent bottom line.
And 15% of that has to be.
Oh, do you mean if
That's what
our,
I'm saying.
no,
Like, let's
it's
say our fuel goes crazy. Well, that's not what we budgeted to do 15%, and then our fuel goes nuts.
no, so it's just, no, it should be fine because it's
What is budget?
what is appropriated.
What's appropriate. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. And yeah, so we hit that 15, we're generally exceeding that 15 because things like museum passes factor into that. So there's bookbinding, materials and equipment, that's all the same. Clothing allowance we will no longer need. Because that is specific to Cliff.
That was Cliff's clothing allowance.
Oh.
So since it's going to
I was
DPW,
wondering who
then
got
we
it.
don't
Read
need
it, yeah,
no clothes.
none.
Clothes for you.
And then MISC, it's called MISC Serve Dash Computer. We did include that line.
What does that mean? Is that server or services? Or
Miscellaneous services
Services
So
for computer.
related to technology.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
DPW Mars comes out of that.
Yeah.
Like the whole membership.
All of our
fee.
internal,
my question was going to be, we're servicing computers here. That was just not, but I guess.
No, no.
Okay,
No,
I was gonna
No.
ask why that is a role, is what the.
Yeah.
I mean, we service our own computers and that is part of this line.
I
Yes,
just
okay.
completely misread them.
no, that's okay.
Yeah, so this is all of our subscriptions to any also any softwares that we use to run this library. So things like our staffing software, things like the new Communico system that will be coming online soon, comes out of this line. And this line has been increased by about 5,000 the last, I think, 5 years. Just very steadily every year kind of needs another $5,000 in it. And so that's what we've recommended here. So everything that we recommended was also recommended by the town manager,
Perfect.
which is really great. That's not where we were last year. That may change as it goes to committee, and goes through this process. I do not know, but our overall budget is only a 1.8% increase, which is really
That's
good.
really good. Well
Really
done.
good. And our operations, which is everything except for personnel and payroll, like all just these numbers right here, is only a 1.4% increase. So it's a thoughtful budget given our times. And I think presenting a budget like this, I would think for a board, it would be really hard to have a problem with that or think that this was an overspent budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well done.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
That is the budget.
My son is over there finishing.
Oh,
something.
yeah.
He
He
hangs
can
out over
hang
here.
yeah, he's with us. Thank you.
Do you want him to? should we
No, it's
come over
fine.
here?
You can hang.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, we got him. Thank you. We won't leave him in the library.
No.
My son
Nice.
is over
Oh.
there.
I didn't see
anybody
anybody
there.
else.
He was like-
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Eversource.
So, next up is repair project update. On there is Eversource Energy Efficiency Incentive Offer Approval, which I signed because they're giving us $10,000.
We need to figure out where you as a board have voted to give you signatory authority.
So we had that special meeting for that,
That was for,
for the easement. I thought we did that for everything.
I feel like it was specific to the easement.
We can go back and look. I can't
And I can go
remember,
back
but we
up,
should
But I feel like it,
look at doing it for even if it's for the duration of the project.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do that now.
yeah, that's the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as we've talked about a few different times, because we got signature, we discussed appointing me for signatory authority at the beginning of the project when we applied. And then, but we can't find that.
I don't, yeah, yeah.
And then we just did it for the Eversource, for the easements for the National Grid. So now we have one from Eversource. So why don't we just make it super official,
Mhm.
like we have it in writing? So on a motion to allow me signatory authority as the chair of the trustees for anything building project related for the duration of the project. Thank you.
I was gonna try. How could anybody repeat that?
And
Good
I have a
job.
Second
Someone.
on that.
Second.
All in favor? Great. It's official.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
I went
I-
back and looked
I know, we
and
had
I
so many
didn't, I
chapters.
know, I know.
But I'm sure we'll probably make it official
Okay.
another time too.
Yeah.
But that should cover anything building related project for the duration. I'm just gonna write that warning now. Okay, so repair project update, everything's going really well. We just had a library building committee meeting yesterday. So you can watch that shortly on Westborough TV. But the chimney repair is almost completed. You notice the water main, the new water main connection. I'm sure if you've driven past the library, you've driven over the plates in the road. That line is almost finished and they'll be backfilling that shortly. And that line was put in for the sprinklers that we now have, which is exciting. So that just got approved pressure testing and now they have one more thing and then they'll fill that in and remove the plates permanently. And then I think that's the only impact we had on the main road.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's nice that that part of the project will be back to the fence line. Everything's gutted on the inside. They're starting to put up some steel framing for some of the new bathrooms and walls. So it's an exciting time in the project. So it's moving along. We are still on budget and we are still on track for certificate of occupancy. I think it was the end of August in
Yeah.
2026. So far moving
Yes.
along well.
Has anybody been in there to film all these changes so that there would be a history of it you could show?
There's tons of pictures.
Oh, good.
Yes, the Vertex.
The architect
Yes.
weekly has a weekly progress report and he takes a lot of pictures and has his narrative and
Yeah.
those are-
Super exciting.
Is there any way of disseminating bits and pieces of this, maybe through the community advocate or something like
I
that?
was just thinking of the advocate.
Yeah, because they're probably always,
Yeah, they have been in
Fine.
touch
Still
with, yeah,
takes-
yeah.
Yeah, they've been in a couple times talking to us about a few things, and we've been updating the blog monthly on the library repair project portion of our website. And so we've been really trying to make sure that progress. I think as we get further, there'll be more exciting things, but right now it's a chimney and some steel framing, so it's exciting to us. But I don't know I don't know how exciting it is to the public, but I think,
the gutting piece is exciting to the public that it's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like that they see the outside, but things are happening on
Yeah,
the inside
yeah.
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I was getting tons of questions out where I live about why are they ripping up the roads?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that is something
It's
that I put
different.
into the update, like
Yeah.
what's going on.
I know. I love the question. There was a question that I've gotten a lot too. It was like, why are the lights always on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an OSHA requirement
Yeah.
and it's for safety right now. Yeah. It's in case they have to go in for something.
I mean,
So-
just going by right now, coming down
Yeah.
here, it looks like it. Oh, it's on, we could go in.
And I look down, I'm like, oh, look, you can see inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an OSHA requirement in case police or fire have to go in there that they have lights to see during a construction project. So, yeah, great work in keeping that up to date. So
This is getting exciting.
it is getting
Yeah.
exciting. Okay, the next one is going to bring us up to the donation and naming rights policy that we talked about last month at our very brief meeting. I appreciate everyone attending that.
Mhm. So it looks very much the same as it did when we handed it out before. We received no edits from anybody over the past month. And we had some discussion with Maureen Johnson, just in terms of moving forward, next steps from here, and some feedback on this as a policy. So I think given we got no feedback, I don't know.
Yeah, does
It looks
anyone
good.
have any last minute changes they need to make? And this gives us a good path forward. What this does not include, and that will be more of the foundation piece of it, is the smaller amounts. And for naming rights, if there's gonna be like a donor wall or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this is for larger donations that we haven't had in place yet, so. Seeing that nobody made any suggestions, I'll take a motion to accept this policy as a new policy.
I move. Just keep this the way it is on this line over there.
Okay, can I have a second on that? Yeah.
Do
All in
we have
favor?
any idea how much work the foundation has done in raising money?
Hold on.
Oh,
Got it.
okay.
Got it.
Oh, I forgot.
I
I
got an
thought
open
somebody
vote.
said yes.
So I'll take all in favor? Okay, great. All set on that, and then let's move forward. I'll respond to that email so that we can all get a date.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
No, we don't have an update on that just yet. We were just talking about, Maureen had reached out to Kate and we're trying to plan a meeting, the three of us.
Yep.
And this is a big piece of that.
This
So
is huge,
This
yeah.
is huge for them to move forward with their work.
Do we have any sense of how close to their goal they are?
No, that's what I was just saying. I don't know that,
Oh,
but Kate, myself and Maureen are emailing communication about setting up a meeting so that we can move forward with those next pieces.
Yeah, from here, what we do is we come up with basically a menu of options of here's what a $2,500 donation options are, here's what $5,000 donations are. And then from that menu, all of us can do work. Maureen can do some work on just finding people to donate, and that'll all funnel through foundation. And so really a lot of the work, I'm sure, is kind of happening quietly, but it can't happen officially until these pieces are in place. So we will get
This
that.
was huge.
Yeah, this is big.
I know that she has plans. She said, once you get this going, then she can take put her plans into the next phase of action. So, I would expect we'd be able to give a big update at our next meeting.
I hope so.
All right, Library of Things policy. That's the sheet that was passed out.
Everyone has one.
Everyone has that? Yeah. Okay.
So I'll give you just kind of a really brief overview. So our old library things policy is this, if you can see how very long it is. And most of these things are things that already exist in the collection development policy. And so they really don't need to exist in both places. And our hope is that eventually, once we redo the collection development policy, we will put library things within the collection development policy and not on its own. And so realistically, this is the watered down version of things that only apply to the library of things specifically. Everything else falls within that collection development policy. And so you'll see in this, it just refers to that collection development policy. and it refers to the library things lending agreement, which has existed, I don't know, for a year at this point. So only things that kind of don't fit within the regular collection development policy. I don't know if there are any questions.
The only question is the old policy lists this section on procurement of materials,
Mhm.
and the new policy does not.
Mhm. I believe the collection development policy has a section on procurement of materials.
Does that, do we note that that's included in that that this is included in that? So when that policy was written, we had a separate policy for this.
Yeah.
So potentially add a line to this that says this library, the library of things falls under the procurement policy in the other one.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to change the other one till it's time to look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do wonder, does that cover it, that it falls within the scope of the Westborough Public Library Collection Development Policy? Meaning everything within that policy
Yeah, I think so.
applies to the library of
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when this was created, when that was created, it was more of like a
Well, because when we
special
created this
thing.
one, you couldn't check things out through our normal.
Yeah.
So it was
a whole
completely
separate thing.
And it was so new.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, because it asked a bit
that's
too.
why,
Yeah.
we couldn't,
Yeah.
right? So that's why it was, and it was like only Westborough people. So it was very
Yeah.
in depth.
Now
so-
our things work very much the same.
Yeah.
There's a couple little things, but they
for
work the
most
same as
part.
any other piece of equipment here. It's really just getting us closer to that.
Mhm.
Are there prices assigned to the and I brought it home.
Mhm.
And then I just
Mhm.
blew it up because that's how I am. And I just said, well, they never said how much it was worth.
There's